Up with KREM begins now.
7:30 on our Friday morning. Northwest teachers want to be the next to be vaccinated with the COVID-19 vaccine. Well, up ahead, the debate on how to get them back in the classroom.
Wednesday's windstorm has left Spokane parks in disarray. This morning, Tim Pham is live checking out damage in our parks across Spokane.
Yeah, and it wasn't just trees, it was also the butterfly at Riverfront Park. This morning, we have an update for you coming up.
Next week's inauguration is turning out to be more star-studded than a Super Bowl halftime show. So this morning, who's performing and everything else you need to know about next week's ceremony.
And we have what us meteorologists call a shortwave, a bit of energy moving through that brings the possibility of a light freezing rain to some areas this morning. I'll let you know who has the potential for a slick commute as we start the day.
Well, welcome back to Up with KREM. Great to have you with us on our Friday morning. I'm Jen York alongside Joshua Robinson. Well, this morning school is back in session for some major school districts.
However, a number of schools are still closed today.
So this morning, the majority of Spokane Public Schools and the Coeur d'Alene School District are open. Students, though, without power at home will be excused from distance learning.
Now, these are the schools that are closed due today to power outages. In the Spokane Public Schools District, Roosevelt Elementary, Wilson Elementary, and in the Coeur d'Alene District, Venture High School, Hayden Meadows Elementary School, and Medical Lake School District entirely is closed. Looking into the Meade School District, Evergreen Elementary, and of course all schools in our area will also be closed on Monday for Martin Luther King Jr. Day. Now, thousands of people are still waking up this morning across the inland Northwest without power.
So right now, Avista is working to restore power to more than 20,000 customers. Most power, though, is expected to be restored by tomorrow. However, it could take longer for those rural areas. Inland Power and Light is reporting about 2,000 outages. Crews say most power is expected to be back on by today at noon. However, in rural areas like Valley Forge, it may be longer as well, maybe through the weekend. And meanwhile, Kootenai Electric is reporting just under 5,000 outages this morning. Those stretch from Coeur d'Alene up to Bayview. No word yet on when power will be restored there. Now, those numbers can change quickly, and you can always track that by texting outages to 509-448-2000, and we'll send you a link right to your phone. All right, 31 degrees now, Jeremy, just under freezing, but we are looking at possible freezing rain this morning.
Yeah, we've already seen it in a few areas, one of those even being Spokane International Airport. We are keeping an eye on it because just because that round moved out doesn't mean we are done with it just yet. As Jen mentioned early on today, temps are hovering right below freezing. That is the reason we have that potential for a little bit of light freezing rain. It's warm in the mid-levels of the atmosphere, so some of that moisture turns into rain, and then as it makes its way down to the surface, these temps down below freezing are causing that to refreeze as it hits. It's not going to be much, thankfully, but it is enough that some spots will be dealing with some slickness, especially on some of those roads. A bulk of that activity stays south of Interstate 90 early on today, but it doesn't mean you won't see it if you are north of it. We'll see a light little shot of moisture today, but it does look like that arrives just after about 10 a.m. and by then temperatures should be above normal, or not above normal, but above freezing, which, yeah, I guess if we put it that way, it kind of is above normal as we get into the afternoon. Areas shaded in pink are where you have that potential to see a light glazing early on this morning, but more widespread in this pink hatched area, you have the appropriate conditions that if you see some moisture fall, it could easily freeze. So just be aware of that if you see anything falling from the sky. As we head into the afternoon, it does warm up quickly and temperatures rising to the upper 30s means that anything that falls this morning will likely melt as we get into the second half of the day. Joshua?
7:34 this morning, representatives of Spokane Parks and Recreation tell us that right now about 95% of all their funding will go towards making sure their parks are safe after Wednesday's storm. Let's check in with Tim Pham, who joins us live this morning, taking a closer look at the state of our local parks and surveying the damage. Good morning, Tim. Tell us where you're at and what it looks like right now.
Hey, good morning, Joshua. Yeah, we're at Riverfront Park right now. Obviously, other parks across the city saw downed trees. At Riverfront Park, We lost our great butterfly here. You can see the pole is still there, but the pieces of the wings are laying on the ground inside this construction site. And just moments ago, we actually saw folks starting to move some of those pieces and cut some of it because obviously it's no longer up, and so they have to kind of move it right now. The good news though, when it fell during the storm, it didn't hit anyone, didn't destroy any buildings. It fell within the construction zone. It's sad to see it go though. You know, this is very nostalgic for some people. This obviously from Expo 74, it went away, and then there was a big effort to restore it and get it back here at Riverfront Park. And part of the new design is it was supposed to withstand wind speeds of up to 110 miles per hour. And we only clocked at around 70 miles per hour at Riverfront Park. And so we asked the city of Spokane and the Parks Department why that happened, and they said they're not sure. They're looking into it. The wings are actually mobile in this new version, and it still was, the wind was too powerful for it and it took it down. So right now the future of the butterfly here at Riverfront Park is unknown, but of course when we find out if it will come back, we'll let you know. Live in Spokane, I'm Tim Pham. Back to you.
Tim, thank you for the silver lining there. No one was hurt in that case. All right, 7:36. Now this morning, Spokane is under a civil emergency. That declaration frees up resources in the wake of this week's windstorm. Nicole Hernandez is joining us live this morning, telling us more about the recovery. Hi, Nicole.
Yeah, good morning, Jen. So I'm right here in the Audubon River Down neighborhood right now, and you can see behind me just how much damage is still left over from a Wednesday storm. It's been 2 days now, and we still have these giant trunks here in the roadway, blocking some of the roadway over there, and this entire front yard here is completely covered by a tree that went through this house on Wednesday morning. So all of this here is exactly why the mayor made the executive declaration of civil emergency. It lets the city have quick access to the resources needed to clean up the storm debris. The order is limited to spending for emergencies, quote, requiring the immediate preservation of order or public health, or for the restoration to a condition of usefulness of any public property which has been damaged or destroyed by accident, or for public relief from calamity. But because of coronavirus, the city and the Red Cross aren't able to set up the traditional shelters like they did in the windstorm of 2015.
Congregate sheltering, which is what we call it, is not the best option right now. And so we're working with folks on an individual basis and meeting their needs as best we can.
Now, if you need any help, you can call the hotlines like 311 or 211, and the city will help direct you towards the services that are correct for you. The priority, though, is going to the people whose homes were severely damaged or uninhabitable and those with urgent medical needs. And the city does say that they are still working all day and in the next few days to continue putting together those damage assessments. Live in Spokane, I'm Nicole Hernandez.
Nicole, thank you. Well, Kootenai County has also adopted an emergency declaration. Now that's going to stay in place until all utilities are restored and when crews can clean up enough debris. Now, if you need help, you can call the number at the bottom of your screen, though it's worth noting these are for non-emergency questions for the city.
Well, as many wait for the coronavirus vaccine, there is a big debate going on about which group should get it next. Let's talk about the people who think should get it next around the Inland Northwest. Now, Washington State teachers unions are advocating for educators to move up on the state's vaccine priority list. If the state's plan stays as it is, teachers older than 50 years old will get the vaccine next month, along with grocery store employees and law enforcement. But those who are under 50 will have to wait until April. The Washington Education Association is encouraging districts to postpone reopening schools until educators have access to the vaccine. Across the state line, Idaho Governor Brad Little has announced that school staff and teachers are next up to receive the COVID-19 vaccine. This news is coming after a few weeks earlier than planned. Health and school districts across the state are now working on plans to vaccinate school workers who want it. Vaccination plans will vary by district. And to the south, the Oregon COVID-19 Vaccine Advisory Committee also has a new list of priority groups who should get the vaccine. The committee met yesterday. Oregon Governor Kate Brown has already said anyone over 65 and teachers will be eligible for the shot starting January 23rd. After that, the committee is focusing on people of color who are disproportionately impacted by COVID-19, among others at low-risk communities. The Oregon Health Authority will review the list before circling back with the committee next week. And in our next half hour, a Capitol officer is now being recognized online for a heroic act last week at the Capitol mob. Now, what people are saying about him online.
And we take a look outside as we have some light freezing rain coming down in parts of the inland northwest. I'll let you know your odds of seeing it as you head out the door this morning.